Okay, so the purpose of this video is to uh, call for a boycott of the news media. And there's a couple of other things in here, but there's two primary purposes. Okay. Nothing has changed from the last video. The coronavirus is nothing. And a lot of people, I'm encouraged, a lot of people are waking up to this. That the coronavirus is absolutely nothing. It isn't killing anybody. Um, Less than 1/2 of 1% of the people who've had it have died. Most of those elderly. And there's even a drug out there now. I'm going to get the name of it right here. It is. The name of this drug, this anti-malaria drug that is knocking the coronavirus out like it's not even there, is spelled Plaquinil, Plaquenil. That's Plaquinil, Plaquenil. And this stuff kicks coronavirus all over the place, ties it up, takes its lunch money, cuts its throat, dismembers it, and leaves it out in the street. That's what this stuff does to the coronavirus. So, why is everything happening in America that's happening? It is because of politics. It is because they're trying to keep the current president from getting reelected. They're being very wicked, very deceitful. All the media's coverage is just downright false and misinformation. And I'm going to try to wrap this video up as quickly as I can, but there's so many points. I haven't had a chance to write it all down. I'm just kind of go from, in my train of thought. But boycott the media. Boycott the media. And even if you listen to the radio, a lot of their radio, the news breaks, is from a company called iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio is very liberal, and they are running the same nonsense that the television stations are. I'm asking you to boycott the national TV news, and I'm asking you to boycott the local ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox affiliates, because they're totally in bed with the national news media. The national NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. If you watch them, you would think the world's coming to an end. Okay. So let me kind of keep my train of thought here and go through this step by step. Okay. So I've called for the boycott of the shameless, wicked news media. They're hurting people. Okay, so stop watching them. They'll lose their advertising dollar. I don't watch the news anymore, period. I don't watch the news at all. I will listen to public health officials, and that's where I get my information from, is from people who actually know what they're talking about. Not the garbage news. And I would say, go as far as saying you might want to include Fox to that extent, Fox News to that level too. I haven't watched Fox News, but I've heard things from them that I royally disagree with. So basically, why the boycott? Well, the reason for the news media blowing this so incredibly far out of proportion is this. In 2016, they thought Hillary Clinton was going to ride on the coattails of Barack Obama and win the 2016 presidential election. Well, now, if you add up the numbers of all the votes in the Democratic primaries so far, it would seem pretty obvious that there's not even a third of the votes out there, which means that the media, and CNN has already said, so they believe Trump's going to get reelected. Now, if Trump's going to get reelected and they're admitting it, that means it's going to be a landslide. Okay, so they know that Biden and Sanders are not going to be able to defeat Trump in November. So they have waged an 24/7 onslaught campaign because it's an election year. Okay? And Bill Maher, if you want to look this up, Maher, just said he was either being interviewed or was on his show just yesterday. I heard it on the radio, his actual voice, saying the purpose of the media's coverage of coronavirus is to drive panic and hysteria in the public to cause a recession. And they don't care how many lives they ruin, and they don't care how many people die. As many deaths as happen, the more the merrier, is what he said. He said that all of it, all the media distortion, all the hysteria, all their 24/7 nonstop bombardment is for the purpose of keeping Donald Trump from getting reelected as president. Go look it up. Go look it up. Okay? I have never told a lie on this channel, and I ain't telling you no lies now. That is the purpose. It is because it's an election year. And this is where my criticism of Donald Trump comes in. So, Mr. Trump, did you really have to close off travel from Europe? Nope. I don't think so. Did you have to lower the number of public gatherings from 100 to 10? No. Donald Trump is scared. Okay? He's worried about getting reelected too. There is absolutely no reason to say that only 10 people or fewer can gather together. Because you know what? Stores are closing down because of this. Donald Trump needs to get on air right away and raise that from 10 up to 50. And I would be so bold to say 70. But what is he doing? Well, Trump closed off travel from Europe, and then he lowered it down to 10 people for no reason, okay? And he's having all these daily press conferences. Why? Because he doesn't want to be accused by the media as sitting back and doing nothing about nothing. Now, I'm very sad that 150 people have died worldwide of this thing, or whatever it is. What's it? Maybe 6,000 total worldwide? Average age 80? People die. It happens. 9 what is it? Out of 200,000, 8,000, that is 92,000 people. 192,000 people who've had it haven't died from it. 192,000 people out of 200,000 have had this illness and not died from it. Does that equate with you? Does that equate with you? That means that there's probably 150 things out there that could have a better chance of killing you. So, the media is garbage. And Trump is doing what he's doing because he's trying to cover his behind. Okay? And if I was Trump right now, I would be doing what he would do any other year. And I challenge you to go out and argue with me about this. When was the last time you heard Trump call the coronavirus coverage in the media fake news? What, I think maybe he did it today? First time in, 3.5 weeks he finally criticized them? Okay. Donald Trump, if this was 2019, how would you be handling this? More corrupt fake news from the media about the coronavirus trying to scare the public. Oh, you don't hear that. Today he finally says something about it? Really? Donald Trump is concerned about one thing and one thing only: getting reelected. And he is going way, way, way farther than is necessary to combat this thing. What's interesting about the coronavirus, and I believe it's going to come out in the very near future, they're saying that a doctor told me today on the phone that a man who was near death from the coronavirus was given this Plaquenil as a last resort. The doctor was afraid of getting sued, right? This guy was about to die. The doctor was afraid of getting sued, and so the man wrote a waiver. He gave him 2 doses of Plaquenil over a 24-hour period, and it was like Lazarus. This man recovered overnight and is up walking around. This is a guy who couldn't walk across his room because it was too hard for him to breathe. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. There is no cure for a virus. Is there, Rich?
Not yet.
Okay, so Rich, answer me this question. If there's no cure for a cold, because a cold's a virus, and we're talking about coronavirus, and this Plaquenil is curing people within 24 to 48 hours, then guess what the coronavirus isn't? What, Rich?
Flu.
It's not a virus at all. This is not even a cold. It's a respiratory condition that people can get who are in their 80s who have COPD or asthma. When it's all said and done, I'm going to stay here right now and make a statement. I'm going to make a statement right here and now. This coronavirus is not even a cold. It is something that started in China. And when the media in this country heard about it, it was about a day after the Trump impeachment failure ended. And then he did his victory lap. The very next day, it was coronavirus 24/7. This is their attempt. They heard about the virus in China. Well, why don't we go and grab this and blow it completely out of proportion and use it as a political weapon to try to further our political ends? But what I'm really happy about is that I think all but maybe 3 people that I've talked to, and everybody's talking about it, all but 3 people that I've talked to about this in the last 3 weeks, just in passing, just people I work with, people that I go to church with, whatever, they've all said the same thing. This is an election year. Coronavirus is nothing. I'm tired of hearing about it. I've stopped watching the news. I'm going to my job. I don't want anybody to talk to me about it because I'm annoyed by it. I'm on my last nerve with this garbage. And the 3 people that I've spoken to that think that this is real are loopy, germaphobes, people who have no sense, that I think have no sense. And I'll say this, if you think it's real, I'm not saying that you don't have no sense. I'm just saying the people that I've talked to have no sense. You could be a very intelligent person who just happens to be gullible. And that's fine. You'd be a very smart, very wise person, but some people are just more gullible than others. It's nothing to your fault. I'm saying the people that I talk to are loopy. So, having said all this, I call on Donald Trump to immediately go on the air and lift every restriction except restricted travel from Italy and Europe, or Italy and China. And I would go so far as to say that restrict travel from certain parts of Europe. And if you've come from a certain part of Europe, anywhere near Italy, then they should turn you away at the airport. But I could say this. I could say you can keep the restriction from Europe in place temporarily, but you got to get rid of the school closings, the library closings, the limits of people who can interact with each other, 100. I would get rid of all that stuff, because let me tell you something. Old people are getting this, okay? Closing schools is stupid because parents are at work. Not everybody. But there is a higher ratio of parents who are working. Closing schools down creates opportunities for the probably 80% of households where parents work, which means the kids who may be carrying this germ that they're not vulnerable to go to where? They have grandma and grandpa take care of them during the day. And who's vulnerable? Grandma and grandpa. So congratulations to all the governors and all the other pinheads who have closed schools, putting those kids who could be potentially carrying this germ to their old people, to their grandparents, to get them sick. It never ceases to astonish me how little politicians care about people. And here's one last thing I want to say. Governor Cooper closing schools down, and any other Democrat governor that did it for one reason: to put people's lives in danger. I think Governor Cooper is a rotten dirtbag. And that's all I'll say about him. And if he loses to Dan Forest in November, I want to be there to put my foot in his behind so that the door doesn't hit him in his butt on the way out.